welcome to Hardly. The book is distilled into 3 stories, giving you the key ideas in minutes. Today, we listen to James Clear's Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results, in which we probe into the power of small, consistent changes, how environment shapes behavior, the role of identity in habit formation. James Clear, who specializes in research habits, decisions, and how to continue to improve. The article is scattered in the New York Times, Times Magazine, and Entrepreneurs Magazine, and also appeared on the CBS TV show This Morning. Don't go away. Hardly. The editor will be right back with the story. Our first story takes place on a cold afternoon in 2003. British cycling had been notoriously underperforming for nearly a century, and a new coach, Dave Brailsford, was hired to change the trajectory. The task seemed insurmountable. No British cyclist had ever won the Tour de France, and the Olympics offered no better results. Brailsford's approach, however, was both revolutionary and simple, what he called the aggregation of marginal gains. He believed that if the team improved just 1% in every aspect of cycling, from bike seats to hand-washing techniques, these small shifts would accumulate into major success. In time, these small, almost invisible changes added up. Just 5 years later, the British cycling team dominated the 2008 Beijing Olympics, winning 60% of the gold medals. By 2012, British cyclists had claimed victory in 5 out of 6 Tour de France races. It's a striking example of how seemingly minor adjustments, applied consistently, can transform even the most daunting challenges. The lesson here is clear. Change doesn't have to be monumental to be effective. Whether in our personal or professional lives, we often overestimate the importance of grand gestures and underestimate the power of small improvements. The story shows us that by focusing on small, repeatable actions, we create momentum. If you improve by just 1% each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. Let's carry this lesson forward as we consider how our environment shapes us, and vice versa. Transitioning from the story of marginal gains, our second tale follows the life of a man named Eugene, who lost his short-term memory after a viral infection damaged his brain. With no ability to form new memories, Eugene's daily life seemed impossible. However, something remarkable happened. Though he couldn't consciously recall where objects were in his house, over time he could still navigate it perfectly, even taking daily walks around his neighborhood. It wasn't his conscious mind guiding him, but his habits, ingrained through repeated action and shaped by the environment around him. Eugene's case underscores how our surroundings can dictate our behavior in profound ways, even when we're not fully aware of it. When we structure our environment to support our habits, such as placing healthy snacks within reach or positioning our workspace to minimize distractions, it becomes easier to maintain positive behaviors. The environment plays an invisible yet powerful role in steering our choices. As the book notes, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. This insight leads to a practical solution. By designing our environments thoughtfully, we make good habits almost automatic. Moving from Eugene's story of environment to the next, we'll explore how the identity we embrace determines the success or failure of our habits. In our final story, consider the example of a smoker trying to quit. 2 individuals, both offered a cigarette, provide telling responses. The first says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second replies, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker. The subtle difference in these statements speaks volumes about identity. While the first individual still identifies as a smoker struggling to quit, the second has fully adopted the identity of a non-smoker. This shift in identity is crucial. The power of identity in habit formation is immense. When someone identifies with a new habit, whether it's becoming a reader, a healthy eater, or a regular gym goer, the habit becomes more than a goal. It becomes a part of who they are. The person no longer needs to rely on sheer willpower. Instead, they act in accordance with the identity they have chosen. This simple shift in self-perception often leads to sustainable, long-term changes. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation, the book explains, is when a habit becomes part of your identity. This insight offers an actionable takeaway. If we want lasting change, we must start by changing how we view ourselves. Instead of focusing on the actions we want to take, we should focus on the type of person we want to become. This approach is a powerful way to maintain habits because we are far more likely to act in alignment with our sense of self than with temporary goals. As we've seen, small shifts in behavior, environment, and identity can lead to profound changes over time. The common thread across all these stories is the gradual, cumulative nature of change. Whether it's marginal gains, an optimized environment, or a shift in identity, each story teaches us that meaningful transformation often starts small, but with consistency and clarity, it can lead to extraordinary outcomes. As the editor of Hardly, I believe that by learning how to adjust our habits in these subtle yet powerful ways, we can shape our futures with precision and purpose, moving steadily toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. Each story comes from the most representative real-life cases selected by the Hardly team from this book. There are 20 more stories equally worth reading in the full text. If you wish to dive deeper, we recommend purchasing the full book. In reflecting on the key lessons from today's stories, it's clear that small, consistent changes, a supportive environment, and a shift in identity are the cornerstones of lasting success. To further validate these points, let's look at the story of the Japanese railway system. In the late 1990s, Japan faced a challenge: improving its notoriously delayed rail system. The operators didn't focus on massive overhauls, but instead on refining tiny aspects of train operation, such as standardizing how conductors pointed at signals and tightening procedures by mere seconds. Over time, these marginal adjustments resulted in an astonishing transformation. Japan's railways became known as some of the most punctual in the world, with delays measured in mere seconds each year. This reflects the idea that small changes, when compounded, lead to significant outcomes. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, as the book eloquently puts it. The broader lesson is that by making slight improvements in daily routines, aligning our environment with our goals, and embracing a new identity, we can achieve remarkable progress in any area of life. Each story reveals the power of persistence and thoughtfulness in making positive changes. As the editor of Hardly, I encourage you to embrace these ideas and apply them in your own life. By mastering these small shifts, the future holds limitless potential. Each story demonstrates that extraordinary results don't come from sudden breakthroughs, but from small actions done consistently over time.